Hello world of YouTube and welcome to another episode of ARC, the show where I get to be an asshole reviewing comics. We're in a different shooting spot this month. We're on the red couch instead of on my dining room table because my dining room table has a lot of stuff on it. At the moment, I don't have time to clean it off and set up the camera to film before I have to go do another thing. So we're going to be chilling on the red couch for now, and we're going to be talking about some more red in the form of Deadpool versus the Punisher, published in 2017 across five comics, and it was written by Fred Vellante and had art by Pere Perez in it. The story revolves around Frank Castle and Wade Wilson being relatively at odds with each other. They work together as well, but for the most part they are at sort of similar odds. It all evolves around a family, the family of a man called the Bank, who is the source of income, or he is the source of all the information of the income for every high-ranking criminal in the world. He has access to all their account information, and the story revolves around his family, who is very important to Deadpool. And what I like about this story is not only how it's told, I am intrigued with how each issue bleeds really well into the next because of how each issue ends. With this, titular fight of Deadpool versus Punisher being at the end of every issue. But I like how they use the conclusion of their fight to bleed really well into the next issue. But I also like how these two play off of each other. I like the chemistry of Deadpool's off-the-wall nonsense and the Punisher's kind of strict by-the-book sort of scenario. It's like the apex of the most off-the-wall buddy cop movie with the straight man and the goofball ramped up to insanity because of how extreme both are in those fields. I like their dialogue back and forth. Deadpool does a lot to reference Batman v Superman, or Batman in general, in a couple of issues on here. There's one where they're in his van, and in his battle van, and he's talking about putting a smile on his face, Mr. Serious. He's talking about putting a smile over his face. And there's another scene where they're fighting near the end where they reference Batman v Superman, and it's a really funny moment as well. But I also like the sort of evolution of the story. I like how it takes its own twists and turns. I'm trying not to spoil a whole lot as to what goes on, because it is a very good read. I like what happens with this family and Deadpool and the Punisher over the course of this comic. The Taskmaster is also introduced at one point in the story, and his involvement also is really cool. There's a fight in the next to last issue involving the Punisher and the Taskmaster, and there's this whole sort of sub-part in the issue prior where the Taskmaster is trying to learn the Punisher, because he hasn't had a chance to do that yet, because the Punisher is a pretty secretive guy. But I like how there's a fight between the two of them first, and you get to see the Taskmaster learning the Punisher. He gets to break down his fight style, and it's really interesting before he turns it against him, and then the two of them, Deadpool and Punisher, have to work together. And I like the way that the fight is drawn, because it's so chaotic in art style, because panels kind of bleed into each other, but the way it's drawn makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty dope, and it's a nice sort of final point in that fight. It's just a really cool fight scene. This is an arc with a lot of razzle and dazzle, because the two titular characters are known for mature comics, so the art style is very graphic in nature. People getting their heads blown off, people are getting limbs severed. It's a graphic read, but it's really good. I like it, and I like how the whole focal point isn't just the family, but a titular part of the family, and sort of trying to preserve something wholesome amongst the chaos. And I like that sentiment. Especially in a comic so graphic, I like that that's like a focal point of it. Because this comic's pretty fucking graphic. There's lots of gunshot, there's lots of shootouts, there's people getting their heads blown off, there's blood, there's a whole bunch of shit. But it's good. It's worth a read. It's a solid-ass read. I feel like if you like Deadpool and you like the Punisher, you'll get your fill for both. Because there's other moments where, the Punisher seriousness is juxtaposed over comedy in a really good way. There's a point where they're down in Mexico and they get in a fight with a Mexican gang that Deadpool just ramps up to, 11 with a land boat, and it's a person that Deadpool has fought before that then ends with the Punisher giving him a wedgie. There's points where Frank Castle gets to be funny, and I like that about it. It's a nice adverse to the Punisher's typical dark, gritty, overall bleak world. Like the last time I talked about the Punisher, he was busting drugs by using drugs. Like it's Punisher's always been kind of a graphic read, but I like that this, takes his really stark seriousness and plays it against some absolute absurdity at points. And it's a good read. I feel like it's a lot of fun. Depending on what you like the Punisher for, you may like that aspect about it. I personally, as a fan of the Punisher, but who also likes nonsense in his comics from time to time, I like that that's here, and I like how it's played against each other. And yeah, that's my thoughts on Deadpool v Punisher. Again, I didn't want to spoil too much of the plot. Not that it's super deep and profound, but I like the twists it takes, and I think it makes for an enthralling read. It's like a really nice thriller with a lot of nice action intercut in that. And again, I just like the transitions between novels, the nice little pockets of fights that the each comic has between the two of them fighting each other before ramping up to a conclusion about them mostly fighting each other. I like that also is done really well, in my opinion. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I feel like you should pick it up. It's only 5 issues. Wasn't hard to find. I bought these in 2017, and I've enjoyed reading them. It's one that I like going back to because I like, again, the way that the fights are drawn. I like the banter. I like that there's a lot of weird moments in it, too, that just, again, play the Punisher against something a little more comical. But those are my thoughts. Do you like the Punisher? Do you like Deadpool? I plan on talking about some of the other combinations that they were going through in like 2016, 2017 between those two characters. There's one with Deadpool and Gambit. There's one with the Punisher and Doctor Strange. So they're all short little micro arcs. I feel like that'd be a nice little thing to add in here as well because I have a handful of these to play against the more longer, profound pieces. But would you be interested in this? Does this look like something that's up your alley? Let me know in the comments down below. Definitely think it's worth your time if you like that kind of stuff. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general nerdery content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons if you would like to join their ranks. Linked in the description is my Patreon. You get early access to content, exclusive content, and help drive the community. I've been Aruarian. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.